Hey everybody, it's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R chat for Sunday, April 3rd. So this week, the hunt was on in Thailand for the camera that is the key to Sharon's freedom. And Adam and Phyllis are working together as such an unlikely pair. I mean, they're enemies working together toward a common goal, and I just feel like there is a certain dynamic there, I feel, that cannot be denied. And they're there sharing a hotel room, and my mind wanders. I can't help it. My mind wanders because they're sharing this hotel room, and I'm thinking, unfortunately, they're not sharing a bed. Which I know you guys are gonna be like, what, Allie, that's outrageous, but I'm telling you, just forget about Adam and Sharon for a moment and just wrap your crotch around the idea of Adam and Phyllis. Because I'm telling you, my friends, that would be hot, hot, triple hot. I just feel it. I feel a chemistry there, and I'm not saying that I want to see a relationship. I'm just saying that I want to see them do it once. Just once, and Thailand would have been the perfect place. I know, this is a pipe dream, but I cannot help it. I don't want some big, long commitment. I don't need to see a relationship. I don't even need to acknowledge it afterwards. All I need is, like, once. I'm envisioning that all of this tension over Sharon's case is just boiling and boiling, and it's hot in Thailand, and just Phyllis just whips off that hat and they just connect in this one moment and just have wild monkey Thailand sex. And then we don't ever have to speak of it again. I feel it. I feel that would have been a very interesting twist. But no, that is definitely not what happened this week. It was anything but. Phyllis and Adam are sharing a hotel room, and Adam is sleeping in the bathtub. I couldn't believe it. They show this shot of Adam waking up in the bathtub in the morning. I'm like, wow. What? Of course, it could have gone in a whole other weird way, because let me tell you, wake up in a bathtub in Thailand and just be happy that you have both of your kidneys. That would be my first thing, would be to do a kidney check. But I really love the dynamic between those two. And I wouldn't mind seeing it just once. So anyway, the first part of this week was all about finding Koa. He escaped Adam once, but now Phyllis is with him, and they have a double chance of getting a hold of this guy. So they manage, through luck of the dice, to track Koa down at this illegal casino. And pretty much at that point, Adam is like, okay, what do we do now? And Phyllis is like, I got this. It is now Phyllis's time to shine. Okay, Phyllis puts on this sexy red dress, and she walks into that casino, stands right next to Koa at the craps table, and she starts giving him the eye. She's looking at him, she's getting all close to him, she's blowing on his dice. She is laying it on. I mean, she's basically doing what Phyllis does best. Sexing it up. That is what she does best. And it was great. I mean, Koa was eating it up with a spoon. He was ready to forget the craps table and just take her home. He was all about the Phyllis. Little did he know, however, Phyllis slipped a little something in his drink. I guess she carries that around with her just for the right occasion. But she slipped him a Mickey, and he starts feeling a little woozy. And to boot, she also slipped him a pair of loaded dice gets him kicked out of the casino, and then as he kind of stumbles out of the casino, she and Adam kind of perk up and are able to kind of catch him just as he's falling to the ground out cold. But then, of course, there's the unhappy problem of what to do with this guy. I mean, they literally have to drag this huge guy back to the hotel room, and I don't know who had these, but they handcuffed him to the bed. Who had the handcuffs? This is just another reason why things could have just gotten really wild in Thailand in a whole different way, but they just didn't. They used the handcuffs to handcuff Koa to the bed, and by the way, let me tell you, this was not the kind of getting handcuffed to the bed that Koa was hoping for. He was definitely disappointed to wake up and realize that it was Phyllis and Adam and that he had been duped. So somehow, Phyllis and Adam managed to get information out of him. They squeeze out of him that he has sold this camera, this crucial piece of evidence, to some kid, I guess, in some flea market. He gave it away. It's so ridiculous. I find that whole premise so ridiculous because Koa has had this camera for months. And I don't even understand why he's hung on to it. First of all, I would have smashed it to 1,000,000 pieces if it was something that critical and that I didn't want people to get a hold of. And he didn't even bother to erase the video. He's just carrying it around in pristine condition. Destroy the evidence, man! Don't you ever watch TV and destroy the evidence? I mean, it would have only taken like one push of a button and it all would have been gone, but no, whatever. That wouldn't have been very interesting. Instead, Koa sends Adam and Phyllis off on this wild goose chase is basically the best way to describe it. That's exactly what it turned out to be, because looking for this camera, this ordinary camera, probably one of 1,000 that looked just like it, looking for this camera in a sea of junk in a Thailand flea market. It's like looking for a needle in the proverbial haystack. It was that difficult, and it really turned out to be that difficult. Hey, by the way, I just wanted to mention that I really liked the set for the Thai flea market. It was like funky and junky and dark, and I just thought Y&R did a good job with it. It was, and I love Phyllis's outfit. She was wearing this hat and just like very cash, like it was hot. I got the vibe, you know. I had not gotten the Thailand vibe in like the 3 weeks that we've been there outside of Adam and his. Anytime Adam goes anywhere outside of Genoa City, they put him in like a white or cream-colored leisure suit. But this time, I don't know, just everything came together. I was feeling the funky Thai flea market, but the whole camera thing, I'm just thinking, this is impossible. And it felt like impossible. I got the sense of this hopelessness, you know. I really felt that. I felt the whole vibe of the craziness and the hopelessness. And the worst part was, Adam and Phyllis found the camera. They found the exact camera, and my heart was like, yes, finally! Now get that camera and race it back to Genoa City. But to my dismay, they open up the camera, start looking for the video, and they realize the memory card is missing. It was like a punch in the chest, because now they're gonna have to start trying to track down this memory card, which is even more of an impossibility. You thought it was hard to find a camera? Try to find a freaking memory card in a Thailand flea market. It was ridiculous. And finally, honestly, Adam sat down in this moment of just pure hopelessness, and he said, you know what, forget it. This is pointless. He was actually ready to just go back to Genoa City and testify on Sharon's behalf, even though he's wanted for perjury, and I think maybe even something else too, in Genoa City, and his word is worth nothing, but he's like, forget it, I'm just gonna go back to Genoa City and testify on her behalf. I'm the only one that saw the video, this is all I can do. And right at this moment of his lowest point, Phyllis chimes in and she gives him a boost and she says, you know what, we're not gonna give up. And she has this realization that even though they have no hope of finding this tiny little memory card, they do happen to have one huge giant dude handcuffed to the bed back at the hotel who has seen the video and who maybe with a little bit of coaxing would be able to testify that he has seen this video of Sharon. So, in a theme that was just so prevalent throughout the whole week, Adam and Phyllis rush back to the hotel room to find Koa, only he's gone. He has literally bent the bars of the bed to break loose from these handcuffs that they have him in, and now things feel more hopeless than ever. There is no camera, no memory card, no Koa. I mean, that's it. There's nothing else to do. It has all been exhausted. The clock has ticked down. The sands of time have run out of this hourglass. There's nothing left, Adam and Phyllis. Might I suggest sex? Back in Genoa City, it is hard knocks for Sharon. Even her mother has turned against her at this point. And I was really surprised with Doris. She's always been a really cold fish. Like, she's just always been a really stern parent. I don't get the warm and fuzzies from her. I never have. But visiting Sharon in jail right before her trial, just to say how disappointed in her she was and how she wasn't going to support her, couldn't support her, and was essentially turning her back on her. I feel like, I mean, I won't argue that Sharon has made some dreadful life decisions lately, but you know, honestly, I don't even disagree with any of the points that Doris made. But talk about kicking somebody when they're down. That's just wrong. It felt very rude and very cruel. Who is she to hand down this judgment? It was so judgy, and I just felt like Sharon did not need that at that point. And Doris doesn't believe that Sharon killed Sky. She said so herself. She doesn't believe that Sharon is guilty of the crime, so why abandon her when she's being charged with a crime that she doesn't commit? I mean, you're unhappy with her life choices, that's one thing. The issue is about whether or not she killed Sky, and you're just going to abandon her when she needs you the most? I was just very surprised. That's it. I was surprised. That was it for Doris with me. I'm no longer a Doris fan. I was very surprised by that. And I was also very surprised by Nick. I wasn't expecting him. I mean, the trial basically begins and no one is there to support Sharon. Not a single soul. I even in my mind kind of thought, well, I wonder if Jack will end up showing up, because Jack has just always had the soft spot for her. I thought maybe he would, you know, show up and be in the audience, but no one's there. No one's there for her. And out of nowhere, Nick shows up to support her, and he brings Faith. And he didn't have to do that. You know, he didn't have to do that, and he did. He showed up to give support and to let Sharon just see her daughter, and that moment gave Sharon the strength to fight on. She needed that so badly, because with basically everyone against her, judging her. I just felt so bad for her. I mean, I don't know. Even though I disagree with her life choices, I felt bad for her, because I guess it's just a personal thing, because if there's the one thing I think I hate more than anything in this world, and that I've really kind of built my life around, is I hate being judged. I hate being judged. I hate people that are judgers. I hate it. And I really just hated to see Sharon or anybody else go through that, you know, especially when you know that she's innocent. And in so many ways, it was that feeling of judgment from the community that drew her toward Adam. That was what they had in common, is Adam was constantly under this eye, you know, of this peering eye of people, you know, judging him. And Sharon was starting to feel that too, and that's what drew them together. And even now, when she's going through all of this craziness, she's heard nothing from Adam. She has no reason to cling to a relationship with him. She has no reason to cling to any hope of her getting off or any new evidence appearing. And still in this moment, she is clinging to Adam, to her love for Adam, and she referred to it on the stand. You know, she still called it the man that she loved. You know, she said it to Doris. She showed her ring. You know, she's still in love with Adam. I mean, she really just, that's the, you know, she doesn't have a whole lot else to cling to at this point. The district attorney is relentless. He's going after Sharon like no man's business. I mean, he's practically foaming at the mouth to get her. And I could not believe and was very disappointed to see that he brought up Cassie's death like it was Sharon's fault. Ugh. And Sharon and Nick had to sit through it. I mean, Nick was like stunned. Sharon jumps out of her seat like, how dare you say that about me? And it was so inappropriate, but yet jabbed her in just the right way that it made her look like an emotional wreck. It made her look like someone who would act out of emotion, out of passion, and who could, you know, commit a murder. And it was inappropriate but effective on that nasty DA's part. Honestly, even Victor's testimony didn't help. I felt like this has got to be something. Victor's testimony has got to be something. He's Victor Newman. He was coming forward as an ear witness, not an eyewitness, but an ear witness to this incident. This has got to clear it up right here, but even that didn't help. I mean, Victor's got so many skeletons in his closet that he couldn't answer half the questions for fear of incriminating himself. So that didn't help. Oh, and by the way, did you see the court sketches? Like, there was an artist sitting, you know, back in the court, and she was drawing pictures of there was one picture of Victor on the stand, a sketch that she drew. It was so cute. He had his mustache. It was just adorable. I don't know. I just thought it was a cool caricature. And there was one of Sharon, and I just thought it was a neat little touch to kind of give you the, you know, the vibe that you're in a courtroom. Do they still do that? Do they even still do that? Do they still do court sketches? It seems like kind of an antiquated thing. I mean, you'd think they'd just come in there and snap a couple photos, but I don't know, I just thought that was interesting. Anyway, after all of the witnesses had come through, they've all been called, Sharon's case still has more holes in it than Sharon's head. It was again this feeling of hopelessness. So Vance realizes that he has to make a bold move. And Leslie kind of comes in to consult, and she says, no, don't do it, Vance. But no, he's got to do something. I mean, this case is going down the toilet, and he's not going to lose. So the defense calls to the stand Sharon Newman. And Sharon has this opportunity to take the stand and tell her side of the story in her own words. And she gets up there and she tells it very convincingly, I think. I mean, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I'm a pretty good judge of when someone is lying or telling the truth. But, you know what I mean? I felt like Sharon's, her delivery was very genuine. And just as she starts to wrap up her story, she glances over and she sees one of the jurors, a female who had said earlier during jury selection that she was a mom. Sharon sees this woman just gently brushing away a tear. Brushing away a tear out of her eye. Indicating that, you know, Sharon got to her, that, you know, that Sharon's story touched her. And, you know, it was interesting because out of this moment of hopelessness, suddenly you have this feeling that maybe the truth will prevail. You know, maybe Sharon won't need the video or, you know, Koa's testimony or anybody else's testimony to save her from this life in prison. And maybe, just maybe, for once, Sharon, by taking the stand and telling her story, will save herself instead of waiting for someone else to do it. I have never loved Katherine as much as I love her right now. She is on fire! Oh, I love her. In the wake of Victor's big announcement about taking Newman Enterprises public, everyone who we left last week watching this press conference, they're scrambling. I mean, Victoria and Nick and Tucker and Jack and even Ashley, they're all like on the horn trying to do everything that they can do to get their hands on a piece of this new public Newman stock. It's like they're rats scrambling to try to get this piece of new cheese. But Katherine just looks at them all and says, "Shame on you." And it was a very powerful moment because, you know, everybody's so caught up. And Katherine is just the only one that says, you know what, this is wrong. She, like, this whole lawsuit is what forced Victor into the position of taking his private company, you know, the one that he built with his bare hands, public. And this whole family rivalry is just killing Newman Enterprises as we know it. It's now morphing into something completely different. And Katherine sees Nick and Victoria and Abby making plans, you know. I mean, on the one hand, Nick and Victoria are trying to decide what's next for Beauty of Nature, getting their hands on this new stock. And then Abby, on the other hand, is like, screw it, I'm taking my money and running. And Katherine just tells them flat out, you people are acting like sharks circling around a wounded animal. It needed to be said. Then she turns around and tells Tucker to go to hell. Tucker, just go to hell. Her own son. Basically, I mean, Katherine just has this total morality moment where she tells everyone that they are selfish, and then she storms out of Victoria's house and goes where? Straight to Victor to cut a deal. I love this woman. Well, just as soon as Tucker realizes that Jack is no longer officially going to be able to bring him Beauty of Nature, he fires him. Straight up fires him. At this point, Jack might as well pull out his pockets, sit down on a street corner, and shake his tin can because this man's out of a job. He's out of a job and he don't have any money anymore. It's kind of sad, but I mean, he's done it to himself. I mean, Jack, okay, he gets fired this week, and the first thing he does is go to Ashley, who is now the sole runner of Jabot, and Jack says to her, how are you going to help me get my job back? Word for word, that is what he said. How are you going to help me get my job back? The audacity. You know, I love Jack, but he has got a one-track mind. And Ashley, bless her, just looks right at him and says, I'm not going to be helping you get your job back. You need to get over this. You need to focus on something else. Stop with this Jabot obsession. Get a new obsession. It is ridiculous. Although, I mean, I understand Jack's character. Everything, you know, that's driven Jack's character in the past several years has been about, you know, redeeming himself, you know, for the mistakes he made with Jabot. And this is where I would love for you guys to jog my memory here, because I forget storylines so quickly. What did Jack do to lose Jabot? I mean, it's been in and out of the Abbott family for a while. But what was that final straw that Jack did to really lose Jabot? I think he had to sign it over to Katherine. But I don't remember. What was it? Maybe you guys can fill me and jog my memory. Of course, I was watching back then, but I just have a terrible memory for storylines. So please clue me in. Let me know what that was. Flash me back. But I just so totally agree with Ashley. Jack needs a new purpose in life. It has to be about something other than Jabot for him, or getting back at Victor, or, you know, whatever. Find a new way to get back at Victor, whatever you got to do, or find a way to outbid Tucker for this Newman stuff. You know, focus on that, Jack. Hey, by the way, how did Abby go from smashing Jack's picture onto the floor to sticking up for him vehemently to Tucker? How did that suddenly happen? It was like Jack paid her a little bit of lip service after the press conference saying, hey, you know, I know that I'll admit I did use you at first, but I'm sorry. And then all is forgiven, and suddenly she hates Tucker. And I would love to know how in the world that happened on Abby's part. But on a side note, I am really proud of her. I'm happy that she finally decided to put her foot down with Nick and Victoria, and she basically said, you know what, I've got my money. I'm done. I'm out. I'm over this madness. And she's out. She's gone. But I don't get why she is insisting that Tucker take the heat for something that Jack initiated. Again, I love Jack, but the idea to sue Victor into submission was Jack's idea. He originated this, and I mean, Jack brought it to Tucker, and Tucker jumped in on it, and now suddenly Tucker's taking all the heat for it. Frankly, I belong to the Neil school of thought on this one. Neil stopped by Victoria's house this week, and they had a really nice chat. I enjoy their friendship. He basically dropped a total wisdom bomb on her, and he said, you know what, Victoria, move on. Forget about Beauty of Nature. You want independence? Forget about Beauty of Nature. Forget about Newman Enterprises. Just take your money and start something new. Really, it's time to move on. Well, as soon as the news about the Newman IPO started sinking into Nick's brain, it slowly started to dawn on him that maybe Diane was in on his father's debauchery. And although I don't think that's true, I think that says a lot about what he thinks of her at this point. So last week when Michael came over to the ranch to finalize all of these business dealings with Victor, Diane sort of got the impression that Victor was planning to settle this whole thing amicably. And so her first instinct was to run to Nick to pass along this information and maybe even ingratiate herself with him. But when Victor's settlement turned out to be pretty much anything but amicable, and by the way, I'm wondering if that wasn't intentional on Victor's part, using Diane knowing that she would go to Nick. I don't know. But when, this kind of all blew up, Nick's paranoia basically starts to kick in, and he runs out to the ranch to confront Diane. And really, I just feel like, who could blame him? Because, at this point, Diane's actions are becoming clearer to me. I have been struggling with this for weeks, and suddenly I'm starting to get it. Diane is in it for the money, purely. She's in it with Victor for the money. She's in it for herself. And if I didn't know it before, her little champagne and sex surprise at Victor's office this week to celebrate her rich husband getting even richer and therefore her getting even richer. Kyle actually said to her this week, "Say, if Mr. Newman gets richer, does that mean that you get richer too?" It's clear. So I just, after all that happened, I get it. And Nick is pretty much under the same impression. So in pretty much no uncertain terms, Nick runs out to the ranch and accuses Diane of lying to him, of just totally intentionally tricking him on Victor's behalf. And Diane was not amused. She smacked him. She smacked him right in his face. Oh, I love a good smack. It just feels so good. And the tension between these two just continues to rise, continues to bubble. And I don't know, is it wrong of me that pretty much within seconds after that slap, I was secretly hoping that they would maybe continue this conversation between the sheets? Chloe has balls. Chloe has huge balls. She straight up confronted Angelo this week about his threats toward Kevin. She was like, you know what? I'm over this. I'm going to take charge. Angelo is standing in the way of me being with my man. So safety be damned. I'm just going to go for it. I don't care if he's a mob guy. I'm going to get what I want. And she did. And I thought it was really, really gutsy of her. I mean, Angelo's a big guy. He says that he would never harm a woman, but yet he didn't have any problem tying Heather to a chair and leaving her there to die. So I'd say that Chloe took a big, big risk by going to talk to him, and it really paid off because I thought it was a very cute scene between the two of them. I mean, Chloe sees that he has this little dog, and she's like, oh, so you're really like a big teddy bear. And he's smiling with these huge teeth. And he's kind of cool. Angelo's warming up on me a little bit, I will admit. But Angelo, more importantly, kind of seemed to appreciate Chloe's spunk. He was like, you know what, I like you. And the scene between them just was very cute. It was a cute interaction. And Chloe ended up getting her way. Angelo was like, you know what, I like you. You're right. I was never going to hurt you. Just make sure Kevin stays in line and, you're going to be fine. And Chloe got what she wanted. Although, when she runs back to tell Kevin, like, no, it's cool. Look, I talked to Angelo. He's not going to hurt me. Let's come on. I can't take this anymore. I need to get it on. And Kevin just did not see it that way. He was not happy with the fact that she went and talked to him, talked to Angelo on his behalf, and he decided that he was going to run off and counter-threaten Angelo. So he goes back to Athletic Club, still same, Angelo's sitting at the same table eating the same sandwich, and Kevin comes up to him and he says, you know what, if anything happens to Chloe ever, I am gonna make sure that you go to jail for a very long time. I'm gonna expose this whole gambling ring. I'm gonna show them the books. I'm gonna make a copy of the books and make sure that you get exposed. And it was very assertive. I mean, he was taking charge, I mean, he was all, look, you don't want to mess with me, okay? Because I have a tendency to get crazy when things don't go my way. So you just better look out, Mr. Big Man. And the whole time, Chloe is sitting in this chair nearby, listening to the whole thing going down, and she's hearing Kevin be this very assertive man, and she finds it very erotic. So, after Angelo decides that, he's fine, he's not gonna mess with Chloe, the threat has been removed from Angelo, Kevin and Chloe, kind of realize that they're free to announce their relationship to anybody they want to announce it to, and more importantly, it was time to have sex. It was sex time for Kevin and Chloe. I mean, immediately they rented a room upstairs in the Athletic Club and got it on. The only problem, hello, you guys, why didn't we get to see it? I feel so cheated. I mean, after all of this buildup, they got a room and we didn't even get to see it? That's terrible. I mean, really, the only thing worse than the only thing worse than no sex is implied sex. Well, Jana probably would have been completely fine with the implied sex between Kevin and Chloe. She has had her hands busy this week, these past couple weeks, with the case of Daisy's missing baby that's right under her nose. Of course, that does not stop her from thinking about Kevin with every other brain cell she has free in her head. So, I mean, things have just become so weird and estranged with Jana. I like a year ago, I was really enjoying Jana and Kevin's relationship, and now we're just in such this weird place. I just never would have predicted it. I don't even care that much for Jana these days. I don't dislike her, but I just feel like she's very blah. Just very blah. She does not excite me right now. And I mean, I don't like Chloe rubbing her relationship with Kevin in Jana's face. That's just not nice. I don't like to see anybody hurting like that. I mean, Kevin and Jana were married, Chloe. You can't pretend like she doesn't exist. They still have a bond. It's just so hard because then again, Jana is so unstable. My jury is just so still not out on this. But, I mean, Jana is unstable, and Chloe actually went to Victoria this week and told her to fire Jana. Because Chloe doesn't want Delia around her. I mean, really, though, who could blame her? And, of course, the ultimate irony is that Victoria stood up for Jana big time And in the end, it may very well be Jana who ends up getting Victoria's child taken away from her. So Jana has gone deep undercover. She has dressed up in a pregnancy outfit, and she's gone to Rose DeVille to try to get information about, you know, where Daisy's baby got dropped. And everything was pretty much going very, very well. I mean, like, Rose DeVille, they've painted, you know, this other mother that was in the church painted Rose as just this horrible woman. And it's because I love Ellen Green, the actress who plays Rose DeVille, but she seems perfectly nice. Everything was going splendidly. It was a little rocky, but she seemed perfectly nice. And, you know, everything was going really well for Jana until she decided to start rifling through Rose's papers. And Rose came back and was like, what? She just flipped a switch, and she was wicked. She was not happy about it. I mean, she was like genuinely upset. She didn't even play it that aggressive. It was just more like upset. And it was very, very creepy. And ultimately, like, Jana found herself in this very, very dangerous situation, you know, where she doesn't have the upper hand. Nobody knew where she was, you know. Rose DeVille could have killed her and nobody ever would have known. She pretty much had to throw Rose into a cart of golf balls, I think it was, to get her off of her. But Jana manages to escape this dangerous situation with a bit of evidence. As she's rifling around the papers, she takes a picture with her phone and of whatever Rose has written down, and it ends up being like the series of numbers. Jana doesn't know what it means. What the heck could it mean? I mean, to her, it's like the Da Vinci Code. Who knows? It could be Morse code. Who knows? So she decides to go to Genoa City's resident computer tech guy, who happens to be the ex-husband who she is obsessed with, and she tries to get him to kind of crack the code. What are these numbers that Rose has written down? And Kevin, the brilliant man that he is able to tell her and discover that these are bank account numbers. So Jana is now pretty much holding the key to Lucy's future, to a lot of people's future. Kevin was able to narrow down the fact that one of the bank account numbers is local, and it's only a matter of time until she finds out that that bank account is owned by one Billy Abbott. So, I mean, what do you guys think? I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm just not in a huge hurry to get this, for this whole truth to come out. There's something about it that makes me nervous. I don't agree with Billy's methods for getting this child in the first place, but now that Lucy's settled in, I don't want to see her get taken away. Victoria's sitting there feeding the baby this week, looking so sweet and precious, and I'm not anxious to see the baby get ripped away from her now. And I mean, I don't even know that that's what will happen, but Jana is going to figure this out any day now. And the big question is, once she gets the information, what is she going to do with it? I really thought that Heather would jump at the opportunity to be with Chance, and that's just not what's happening. I mean, she was completely in love with him when he was her bodyguard, but now she's so hesitant. And it baffles me and saddens me, because once again this week, Chance opens up to her, tells her that he loves her, he wants to be with her, and she shuts him down. She basically told him, look, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. It's horrible. And I don't know if I Okay, Heather knows that if she says she loves him too, Chance is going to not go back into witness protection. He's going to stay in Genoa City, and then it might very well put his life into danger. So my question is Heather lying about her feelings for Chance to protect him? I just don't feel like I know her well enough to tell. I've never been able to get a read on this character. It feels very flat to me, and I just don't know. So Paul and Nina were having a conversation this week, and they were talking about how in an alternate universe they would have loved for their children to have fallen in love and gotten, married and lived happily ever after together. And I never thought about it like that. I love Nina and Paul so much, and I would love to see a wedding for Nina and Paul one of these days soon in the future. I'm not in a rush for it, but I would really love to see that. But except, now, as far as their children, it just doesn't seem possible. Nina and Paul are just such a good couple, and I never thought about how great it would be if their kids got married too. It was just so interesting. I just think it would be such an interesting kind of circle of life moment if Heather were recast. So what's the deal with Lily? You guys, the poor thing ran up to a stranger this week at Sophia's birthday party thinking it was Kane. Of course, then again, he was wearing that brown corduroy jacket, so that's a pretty easy mistake to make. I could have made it too, and I feel really bad for her, because, unfortunately now at this point, her family thinks she needs to see a shrink. It's gotten that bad. She also saw him in the elevator this week, and that time it was Kane. It actually was Kane, or his ghost, one or the other, but it was Kane's face. And another strange event in the series of mysterious events for Lily, which I'm actually enjoying. Lily is at the bookstore, and what mysteriously shows up in her purse but a book called Communicating with the Afterlife. Weird. It's spooky. I like it. It's kind of cool. I wasn't expecting this to happen after Kane's death, but it is kind of interesting. So what's going on? What are your theories? A couple of people have suggested that someone is playing tricks on her, trying to make her think that she's seeing Kane, but I just don't know who, and I don't know why, and I don't know how. Okay, for the who, I can't see Colin doing it. He seems genuinely remorseful for what happened to his son, and I can't see him playing tricks on this young mother, trying to make her think she's going insane. He's a bad guy, but I don't think he's that bad of a guy. The only other people that I could think of would be like those Australian mob guys, like maybe some of the underlings that might be messing around with Lily. But even that, and then there's the why. Why mess with Lily? If somebody had a beef with Kane, it's with Kane. It has nothing to do with Lily. And then the how, some of the things like the heart and the glass, the times where she's actually seeing him in the bedroom. How could that have been faked? I could see somebody putting the book in her bag. There was that guy that was at the bookstore that said he knew Kane. But I don't know. There's a lot of questions here, and it just seems kind of like a stretch to me to think that somebody else is doing it, but it's a stretch to think, I don't know, anything else. So, is it possible that Kane is still alive? Is it possible? She watched him die in her arms. I was pretty sure he was dead. I don't even know why Kane would be messing with her. So that doesn't even seem like a plausible, explanation. The only thing I can think of, and you guys let me know what you think about this, is, could Kane have a twin brother? Okay. Wow. Another long one. Another long recap. I honestly think it's because a couple people have told me recently that they aren't watching the show anymore and that they're watching me to get recaps of the show. So I feel like maybe I'm feeling more like I have to do less commentary and more, or I mean not less commentary, but more of a recap. Like I have to really fill in a lot of the details, and that's why I'm running so long. But I kind of like it. I mean, I feel like just in kind of going through the complete storylines, I feel like I'm thinking about them more, and I'm giving pretty good analysis. I feel like my analysis last week was pretty dead on. I think I'm doing pretty good. I think I'm focused in. So I mean, they're longer, but I'm able to give more complete thoughts. So I hope you guys are enjoying it. I really appreciate that you're watching, and I hope that you're getting ready right now. Your fingers are waiting to leave me a comment. I'm excited to know what you guys think about the storylines, and I have, I guess, two other kind of YNR, not storyline related YNR comments this week. First of all, I was standing in the checkout line this week at the grocery store, and I picked up my CBS Soaps in Depth, and there was two casting updates that I thought was interesting. First, the less interesting one is that someone is going to be playing the part of Jeff. Like, Jeff, apparently the actor who plays Jeff was not able to show up to set for like 3 days, and so there's going to be another actor stepping in for him, and I'm thinking, this guy's barely on the show as it is, and he can't make time in his schedule for to film for the few scenes that he has. But oh well, apparently we're getting a replacement Jeff for a couple of days. The other way more interesting casting news is that I'm really excited about this, and I hope it turns out to be true. But I heard that original Noah is coming back to replace sucky Daniel-esque Noah, which I'm so thrilled about. I'm not sure what the actor's name was, but he played Noah right before the last one, and I'm really jazzed about it because I was not feeling that recast, man. I'm sure that guy's totally awesome in another role or whatever, but he was too much like Daniel for me, and he was not at all like Nick's son. I mean, if he wants to be a musician, that's more than fine with me, but Nick's son is a very particular type of boy, and I feel like we were getting, sporty from him, and I'm glad that the original actor is gonna be coming back. I really hope it's true, because I'll be jazzed to see that, and that they're gonna be casting Eden. So, we could get some interesting stuff going. I'm open to seeing where this could go. I'm definitely looking forward to it. The other YNR news, it's not even news. I don't even know why. The trail that led me to this is so ridiculous. I was watching It's Gary Shandling's show, which is a fantastic, was a Showtime sitcom. I think it was 1983, 84, 85, kind of in there. And Ian Buchanan, who's like a veteran soap star, he was on the show, and on this show, he apparently had been on General Hospital, and I think he's on Bold and the Beautiful right now. So I was looking him up online just to see, like, what show is he from? I know he's a soap guy, and I saw some article that said he was gay. And I'm like, well, that's, sure, he's obvious, that's obvious. But in the same article, it listed other soap people who were, rumored to be gay. And, Christian LeBlanc is, I guess when I found out about Christian LeBlanc, who plays Michael, it was, for a moment, I was like, oh, really? But then I was like, okay, yeah. Okay, he's gay. But this one kind of surprised me, and you guys all know this, I'm sure, but I had no clue that Greg Ricart, who plays Kevin, rumored to be a gay man. I think it's true. I guess. What, so can anybody out there confirm this for me? Is this like some known thing that was unknown, that was known to everyone else but not known to me? Leave me a comment, let me know. It's not that it matters, of course it doesn't matter in any important way, but it does. I mean, I'm kind of like, really? Because Kevin is very like nerdy straight guy. I mean, he just plays this role a certain way, and it's just, I can't believe it. I mean, I'm a little bit shocked to think of Greg Ricart as a gay man. So leave me a comment. Let me know if that's true. I'm just curious. That's it, man. Those are my thoughts for this week. I hope that you enjoy them. I hope that you leave me a comment and give me some good scoop. I want to hear scoop from your end. I'll be looking forward to it, and more importantly, I'll be back next week to chat about the show again. So I will see you guys next time. I love ya. Bye.